results of KCE, whatever, being released, and we hope they'll be authentic. And again, Kenyan parents are taking their children back to school. They lack the wherewithal. A lot of them, because of the high cost of living, cannot afford. We hear that, and I think we'll confirm, where the head teachers and people everywhere, in response to the high cost of living, are also preparing to hike school fees. So very difficult circumstances. And even before this happened, we had the executive coming out fighting the judiciary, which is completely uncalled for. Even the latest statement I see from William Ruto somewhere in Eldoret yesterday, urging collaboration on the one hand, and on the other hand, his deputy is out there pouring vitriol against the judiciary. Now, some of us take this as a very serious matter. Aggression against any arm of government is actually aggression against the rule of law and, by extension, a threat to democracy. So what you're seeing now is, like it has never happened before, a real challenge to democracy. And I wonder, Bwana Kariuki, whether some of these leaders have been listening to these debates, whether there's actually democracy is under threat worldwide. So that we can, if that is the case, then we need to sit as a country and ask ourselves some very pertinent questions. Whether it is really a new Kenya, a Kenya which has gone back 20, 50 years. And we can, of course, we can't allow that to happen.
And of course, the president says that the judiciary and some of the judges are corrupt and there is some kind of impunity in the judiciary.
But if he says so, let him be explicit. Let us see some action. Nothing prevents the DCI from moving on some judges and without, of course, dragging a judge before a magistrate. I once appeared in court when the Deputy Chief Justice was dragged to a magistrate's court. And I actually went and appeared on record for that. There must be decorum. As long as there's decorum, call them out if there are judges who are corrupt. And by the way, I had a discussion once with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the reason he gave for not having appointed the 6 judges that William Ruto saw to appoint on day one, which he did when he took over the reins of leadership. Some of them, the reason Uhuru Kenyatta did not appoint some of them were very clear. They had integrity issues, and of course he wouldn't disclose. I think that if there was a proper handover, he would have known. Could it be, he's talked about some of those judges? We don't know. He has to be explicit. But even as he tries to be so, he must understand the judicial arm of government is independent, should be independent under Constitution 2010, and that is not a matter that can be negotiated. Therefore, to call for collaboration is even making it worse. Let him do his work and allow the judiciary to exercise the independent mandate as a very critical pillar of governance and the government of the Republic of Kenya. And
you've talked about collaboration, the president talking about collaborating with the executive, and I've previously had Azimio leadership criticize President William Ruto that he has actually held hostage the legislative arm of the government, and now talking about collaborative with judiciary. How would you term President William Ruto's leadership skills, or rather style, since he took over power, it being like about 18 months now?
Bwana Kariuki, that's a very suspect pronouncement, talking of collaboration, at a time when we know that the executive captured legislature. I think it is a fact that maybe perhaps the judiciary are digging in, and I must tell you, the Law Society of Kenya is doing this country proud. That is in accordance with the mandate given to under the Law Society of Kenya Act, Law Society of Kenya Act. And of course, we have also the Senior Council Bar, whose chair is Dr. Fred Ojambo. So President Theory and others, members of the Law Society, have actually tried to hold this government to account from that point of view. advising them on matters to do with law and the practice of law. The moment you compromise that and you say that you can just take over the judiciary as their